coming up.
She knew who she married, right? She wasn't marrying a saint.
Now you see her, now you don't.
They're never in the same place.
The mystery of the vanishing First Lady.
There are some reports that they have virtually separated.
It's a marriage that works for them.
Where has Melania gone?
She's not afraid to have a difference of opinion.
And what does her absence mean for the most powerful man in the world?
Does she love him, do you think?
She hates his fucking guts.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
It is one of the most curious questions being asked of Donald Trump 2.0. Where on earth is Melania? While the US president has barely been out of the news, the First Lady has been utterly conspicuous by her absence. Since her husband was sworn into office 139 days ago, Melania has largely given Washington, D.C. a body swerve, appearing at just a handful of official public engagements. Her defiance of presidential protocol and long-standing White House traditions has been met with head-scratching scorn and plaudits in equal measure. So where has the First Lady gone? And what does her disappearing act mean for her 20-year marriage with the world's most powerful man? It's the question White House watchers are desperate to answer. Where is America's First Lady?
I've been shocked by how little she has been here. A tumbleweed could roll through the East Wing offices on most days, and just there's not a lot of activity.
During Donald Trump's first term in office, Melania was seldom seen. But this time around, she's practically invisible.
I just feel that people didn't accept me, maybe. They didn't understand me the way maybe they do now. And I didn't have much support.
In this rare interview late last year, the enigmatic First Lady insisted she'll do the role her own way.
I'm standing on my own 2 feet, independent. I have my own thoughts. I have my own yes and no.
Melania Trump has spent just a few weeks here at the White House since her husband was inaugurated in January. And while officials are quick to say there's nothing going on, Melania's absence is not only deepening the intrigue that already surrounds the former model, it's also fueling speculation about her relationship with the divisive president.
I will be in the White House, and, you know, when I need to be in New York, I will be in New York. When I need to be in Palm Beach, I will be in Palm Beach. But my first priority is, you know, to be a mom, to be a First Lady, to be a wife.
The snubs, the hand flicks, and those infamous eye rolls. It's these awkward and very public marital moments that keep fueling speculation there's trouble in paradise. Does she love him, do you think?
At one point, I asked someone who's very close to them, and I said, you know, so what's going on? And this person looked at me like I was a real dunce, and then said, she hates his fucking guts.
Michael Wolff doesn't mince his words, especially when it comes to Donald and Melania Trump. Can you give any insight into why Melania would hate her husband?
Well, I mean, other than the fact that he has a long history of relationships with other women, porn stars and the like, and that he's not a very nice guy, and he doesn't listen to anyone ever, so I doubt if he would listen to his wife. Should I go on?
The audacious author spent 7 months inside the White House after the Trumps first took office in 2016. What was it like in there?
There was a level of chaos here that was, you know, pretty much unprecedented. Very quickly, there was the sense that wheels were coming off the bus. I began to talk to people, and then not long after that, they would, and quite a few of them, do the, you know, this gesture.
He got so swept up in the Trump world, Michael spent the past decade documenting the Donald and was even invited by the president to dinner.
Well, I mean, Mar-a-Lago is its own weird place, a kind of an extraordinary salt on your eyes and on good taste.
It was there Michael first met Melania.
It was kind of like a wedding table, which is to say that it's just a steady progression of people coming up to them. And Melania is a kind of in a state of heightened graciousness, perhaps. So it's all, yes, thank you. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, yes. I mean, I'm sitting in the middle of this thinking, oh my God, I have really gone down the rabbit hole.
In 3 words, how would you sum up Melania Trump?
Opportunistic, calculated, transactional.
That doesn't sound like a very nice person.
She's married to Donald Trump.
It's been nearly 30 years since the president and his wife first locked eyes in a New York club. Donald, freshly separated from his second wife, was the charismatic star of a hit TV reality show. And Melania, the beautiful model, making it in the Big Apple.
You spin, baby.
I went crazy. I said, I was actually supposed to meet somebody else, and there was this great supermodel sitting next to Melania, and I was supposed to meet this supermodel, and they were saying, look, there's so-and-so. I said, forget about her. Who's the one on the left? And it was Melania.
Did you like him right away?
It was a great chemistry and energy. We had, great time. We started to talk, and, it was something was there right away.
Author Kate Bennett has written a book about the First Lady and says back then it was a match made in heaven.
I think she was really drawn in by his magnetism, his celebrity, his wealth, his connections.
The President of the United States and First Lady Melania Trump, accompanied by the Easter Bunny.
While her property tycoon husband long harboured political ambitions, being the First Lady wasn't a job Melania ever aspired to. Nor was the salacious model from Slovenia what the American public had in mind either.
I think she likes the sort of accoutrement that come with it, but did she ever see herself as First Lady of the United States? No.
But with public office comes great scrutiny. And in the grubby world of politics, it was only a matter of time before the dirt was dug up on the Donald. First, a leaked audio recording.
Whoa. I did try and fuck her. She was married.
It's huge news there.
You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the pussy.
Followed by allegations of his infidelity with a porn star.
We're going to begin, though, with that new scandal rocking the White House.
Stormy Daniels.
He can deny it all he wants. If I was going to lie about having sex with someone famous, Brad Pitt, here we go. I would pick somebody way less embarrassing than Donald Trump.
The infidelities, it's a tough road, for anybody to navigate that in a marriage. What about for Melania?
I mean, two things can be true. She knew who she married, right? She wasn't marrying a saint. She knows the guy is not known for his monogamy, right? Did she think that their private marital issues would be so publicly divulged? Absolutely not. And I think that was crippling for her, and understandably. Is it to the point that she left him? No. Is it to the point that she was real angry with him? Absolutely.
In the days that followed the allegations, Melania's absence said everything.
She canceled plans to travel with her husband to the World Economic Forum in Davos, then arrived at the State of the Union address separately. All of this raising speculation about the state of the first couple's marriage.
Melania Trump was asked many times, sit by him, stand by him, defend him, support him throughout several scandals, and she opted not to. And I think whether it's anticipated or expected, you have to sort of give her credit for not pinning on that awkward smile and standing up for something or defending something that she really didn't feel like defending.
Scandal continued to haunt the couple throughout Trump's second presidential campaign, when last year he was found guilty of falsifying business records in an attempt to silence Stormy Daniels with hush money.
If you are a politician and you have legal difficulties, if you have to appear in court, is that your wife appears beside you. Never once was she there. And I know that at one point, one of the Trump aides went to her and said, stand by your man, this would be really good. And she said, she laughed and she said, nice try.
From the courtroom to the campaign trail, and now in the corridors of power, it seems the First Lady's cold shoulder is still as frosty today.
Where is she? People are wondering, where is their American First Lady? And that's the real question.
For Michael, the answer is simple. Are they a couple?
Very clearly and demonstrably, they are not together if together means actually being in the same physical space.
Coming up, is Melania done with Donald?
During the first White House, she wasn't there. During this White House, she's not there. Where is Melania? This is a significant question in American politics.
Trying to find my way, you know what they say. You realize it's easier to do it alone.
Trying to unravel the mystery that is Melania Trump was a full-time job for Kate Bennett. The former CNN reporter covered her rise to the White House the first time around.
Melania 2.0, what's different? Well, I think this time the question is, where is she? It's like the silence is almost deafening, isn't it? Completely. I mean, that's really both the allure and the intrigue and also the criticism of her.
Melania has barely been seen by Donald Trump's side since January, when the First Lady stole the show at her husband's second inauguration with this eye-catching ensemble.
If you don't control your borders.
Kate says it was much more than just a fashion statement.
I mean, this doesn't scream lighthearted, I'm so happy we're back in Washington, thank you voters for re-electing my husband, in my opinion.
Certainly doesn't.
Yeah, right, it's not approachable, and I think it's keep away from me, he couldn't lean in for the cheek kiss. It's fascinating. Her neck is covered, her shoulders are very strong, and she could be rolling her eyes all day long, and we wouldn't know because they're hidden.
Kate says the key to understanding Melania Trump is through what she wears and when. How could we forget the pink bow blouse?
It's called a pussy bow blouse, right after the Access Hollywood interview that leaked with her husband saying, grab him by the pee, right? She chose to wear a hot pink pussy bow blouse, which she would say to you, it was a nice, color, I liked the style or whatever, but everything she does, you have to read into. It's her way of speaking by not using her voice. She's also
then the white suit, worn by Melania not long after the Stormy Daniels affair broke.
This was after a particularly rough period in the headlines about Stormy Daniels, and people were wondering what she was thinking and feeling, and of course she was very private, didn't say anything, but it's the hat. That day, everyone noticed the hat, and she kept all eyes on her. And at the same time, she's telling the American public, I'm still here, I'm okay. I'm going to make a statement. I'm not going to fade into the background. I'm going to be noticed.
So any of her outfits, none of them are a coincidence?
I don't believe in coincidences when it comes to Melania Trump.
So what message is Melania sending by choosing not to live at the White House full time? If you ask Anita McBride, An expert on First Ladies and their legacies, Melania Trump is a trailblazer. Anita, have you ever seen a First Lady like Melania Trump?
No. She is definitely precedent-setting.
As the former Chief of Staff to First Lady Laura Bush, Anita says Melania is just a modern-day mum doing a traditional role on her own terms. How would you describe her?
Confident, self-assured, strong.
Do you think she should be spending more time in the White House?
I think the times that she is there are the times that are important. I think the one way to look at it is it can be quality over quantity.
During the first White House, she wasn't there. During this White House, she's not there. Where is Melania? This is a significant question in American politics.
Controversial author Michael Wolff isn't so forgiving and insists the truth surrounding Melania's whereabouts is being covered up by the White House.
These are two people who live separate lives. Everything is separate. They are not together.
There's a difference, though, isn't there, between living separately and being separated?
Well, you tell me what the difference is there.
Well, you can choose to live in different parts of the country, or you could not be a couple. I mean, that's the big question here. Are they a couple?
Well, yeah, see, that's the problem. They don't live together. They are never together. And yes, there are marriages in which that is true. Has it ever been true in the White House? No.
Why do you think Melania stays with Donald?
Well, I think it probably works for her just fine. I mean, I think that she lives the life that she wants. You know, she lives the life of a very wealthy woman.
There are some reports that they have separated. They're virtually separated. What do you think?
Well, you know what? I think that, I don't know if that's true. I think it's a marriage that works for them. Maybe it's not your definition of, of a happy marriage. Maybe it might not be mine, but it's certainly theirs. And whether she's in New York and he's here, or she's in Florida and he's in New York, their life is working pretty well for them. So I think any attempt to try and say they're unhappy or behind, that they're apart from each other all the time, I think that's a lot of wasted words. I really do.
The White House disputes your claims. They call you a blithering idiot, an imbecile. What do you say to that?
Well, somebody, before they released that statement, somebody I know in the White House called me and said, "Are you okay with being called blithering?"
You say they checked that statement with you?
Well, this is all, it was sort of like a courtesy call. We're going to call you blithering. They didn't deny anything. It was just, you're a blithering idiot.
They called you names instead?
Yeah, it was, your old-fashioned non-denial denial.
We sought our own statement from the office of the First Lady. They refused to answer any of the questions we asked. Instead, they hit back with this blistering response.
It is unprofessional and irresponsible for 60 Minutes Australia to tarnish and defame the reputation of the First Lady of the United States. The details of Mrs. Trump's personal life and family should be respected as private. One must consider the potential harm caused by creating unfounded narratives solely to garner clicks.
Whatever the truth is about their relationship, there is one thing Melania still has in common with her husband, and that is getting even richer. From a new book.
Writing this memoir has been a deeply personal and reflective journey for me.
To her own cryptocurrency. And signing a $60 million documentary deal.
I believe it is important to share my perspective, the truth.
She's a First Lady using the power of a public office to self-promote and increase her private wealth. Anita McBride says while it's not illegal, it is unheard of. This is certainly a different chapter, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The items that, both Trumps sell with their likeness and in their name, that is something, we haven't seen before.
She's now entered cryptocurrency.
And so is he.
Thoughts?
For me, personally, I think those things should be left to when you leave the public eye. That's my personal view.
For Michael Wolff, it's just another scandal in a show that's barely even started. What do you think the next 4 years are going to look like?
What you see is what you get. This is so patently like the marriage itself. There's no pretense. This is what the country elected. We are in a whole, as I say, different reality.
Hello, I'm Dimity Clancey. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.